Good day, Sir Tony. I am Nicole Baguhin Aliari, a Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English, third year. My topic for today that I'm going to discuss is about oratory in the first creative period. So, oratory is the art of public speaking. It involves the skillful use of language, voice, and body language to persuade, inform, or entertain an audience. Then learning objectives, analyze the key elements and techniques of effective oratory. The second is understand the historical and cultural context of ancient oratory. And the third one is appreciate the enduring legacy of oratory in contemporary society. So, historical overview, the golden age of oratory. Oratory, the art of public speaking, has been a cornerstone of human communication since ancient times. It was a vital tool for persuasion, education, and entertainment, shaping cultures and societies. So, oratory has been a cornerstone of human communication because it is the foundation of all aspects of communication. So, when we say persuasion, it influencing someone's beliefs or actions through communication. Then let's proceed to the birthplace of oratory. Ancient Greece is often considered the birthplace of formal oratory. The Greeks placed a high value of rhetoric, the art of effective communication, which included both written and spoken language. So in ancient Greece, oratory were shown a unique art form blossom. So dito nag-bloom ang oratory sa ancient Greece. Then the Greek Athenians were passionate debaters, skilled in the art of persuasion. So when we say rhetoric, it means persuasive speaking or writing. So kung pinaagi sa oratory, makakreate og about persuasive speaking or writing. Then Socratic method. This method of inquiry involved asking questions to stimulate critical thinking. So example ani Socratic method is kanang mangutana ka sa usa ka tawo nga, for example ana sa example is asking and answering questions to stimulate critical thinking. Mangutana ka sa usa ka tawo para maka-stimulate niya og unsay iyang ikatubag sa imong questions, like that. Example is you might have a lot of questions and no one can answer. Visiting a web is one of your choice, searching for answers. So wa may makatubag sa imong answers is your choice is to do research in the web para matubag ang imong mga pangutana. Then, Platonic dialogues often explored philosophical and ethical issues through the art of conversation. So, Platonic dialogues primarily features Socrates, Plato's teacher, as the main character. It explores various philosophical topics such as ethics, metaphysics, epistemology, and politics. So, ang characteristics aning Platonic dialogue is allegorical elements. Plato employs allegories and metaphors to convey complex ideas. Like for example, nasa image nga gi-provide is, why don't you ever have a girlfriend? Then he answered, you ask too many questions. Mo na example sa Platonic dialogues. And let's proceed to Aristotelian rhetoric. Aristotle provided a systematic approach to rhetoric, outlining the three modes of persuasion. The first is ethos, or credibility. The second one is pathos, or emotion. And the third one is logos, or logic. So, ethos, we can also consider called it as a speaker. Orator builds ethos, or moral values. Then pathos, we can consider also as audience, the tone of your voice. So, ang pathos is emotion ng siya. So, nag-reflect na sila sa imong tone, sa imong voice, on how you deliver the speech. Then the third one, logos or logic. We can also call it as message. It convince your audience. So makakonvince ka sa iyong audience. Then it provides proof or evidence to a claim. Then represents the facts. So it is about clarity, clear, clear speech, just like that. Then let's proceed to great orators of ancient Greece. The first one is Pericles, a skilled orator and statesman, led Athens during its golden age. His funeral oration, delivered after the first year of the Peloponnesian War, is considered a masterpiece of oratory. So ang funeral oration is one of the masterpiece of oratory during that time, because funeral oration was supposedly delivered by Pericles. It was actually recorded and perhaps rewritten by the historian Thucydides. Then it is all about to commemorate the fallen soldiers. So ang funeral oration is nag-commemorate niya sa fallen soldiers. Then it reflects on the nature of death and the meaning of life. And let's proceed to the second orators. The second is Demosthenes, known for his powerful denunciations of Philip II of Macedon. Demosthenes is often regarded as the British orator of ancient Greece. So siya ang British orator of ancient Greece. His speeches are still studied today for the rhetorical techniques. So Demosthenes, one of his works that still studied today is On the Crown. This speech is delivered during 330 BCE as a defense against accusations brought by his political rival Aeschines. Demosthenes not only defends himself but also delivers a powerful indictment of Macedonian aggression and a passionate defense of Athenian democracy. So when we say indictment, it is a formal accusation that a person has committed crime. So formal ni siya nga giakusahan ang usa ka tawo nga nakasala. Then On the Crown is renowned for its rhetorical brilliance, its vivid imagery, and its emotional appeal, admired by students of rhetoric and classical literature. The Roman oratory, a legacy of power and influence. The Romans adopted Greek rhetorical techniques, elevating oratory to new heights. So, ang mga Romans is nag-acquire sila through the use of oratory, and then ilang gi-adapt nila through also the use of rhetorical techniques para effective ang kinalabasan sa oratory. Then Roman orators were skilled in using rhetoric to persuade, inspire, and manipulate audiences. Then Cicero, one of Rome's greatest orators and statesmen. Cicero's speeches are renowned for their eloquence and sophistication. He wrote extensively on rhetoric and is considered one of the most influential figures in the history of Western thought. So, mo siya ang pinaka-influential figures in the history of Western thought. Kani si Cicero. So, Cicero's speeches were known for their clarity, logical structure, and emotional appeal. So, si Cicero is good in speech. Mayos uses of speech. His delivery was powerful and expressive, captivating audiences with his voice and gestures. Then, let's proceed to the medieval and Renaissance periods, oratory in decline and revival. So during the Middle Ages, the emphasis shifted from oratory to written language. However, the Renaissance marked a revival of interest in classical rhetoric. So Middle Ages shifted from oratory to written language. Renaissance humanists such as Erasmus and Petrarch championed the study of classical texts, including works of rhetoric. So Renaissance humanist Erasmus and Petrarch. Si Erasmus is the prince of humanists, then si Petrarch is the father of humanism. So kani silang duwa, si Erasmus of Petrarch is naka-influence din sila sa intellectual and cultural life. And let's proceed to public speaking in the Renaissance. Oratory was used to persuade, entertain, and educate, and it played a significant role in political, religious, and social life. Then the enduring power of oratory. In the modern era, oratory continues to be a powerful tool. The first is political oratory. Political leaders use oratory to rally support, inspire hope, and mobilize public opinion. So, magamit na to ang political oratory through convincing our audiences, just like kanang during election, di ba, dapat powerful imong speech or plataforma para maengganyo ang mga tao. Then, ma-engage siya nimo. Sila nimo. Ma-engage sila nimo. Then, public speaking in business. Effective communication skills are essential for success in business, and public speaking is a key component of leadership. So, one of the core, just like kung mag-promote ka og ng business, dapat convincing kaayo ang imong gi-promote about your business para maengganyo lagi pa ang mga tao nimo sa imong gusto nga i-develop nga business. Then, oratory in education. Oratory is taught in schools and universities to help students develop critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills. So, as a teacher, dapat when we teach our students, we must ensure that our lessons that we tackle to them are nga kanang maka-learn jud sila nga na. Then let's proceed to the literary forms of oratory. The first one is speech. The most fundamental form of speech is a formal address delivered to an audience. It can be persuasive, informative, or ceremonial. And the second one is dialogue. Orators often use dialogue to engage the audience, present opposing viewpoints, or create a sense of dramatic tension. So, let's back to the dialogue. So, the dialogue is mao ni siya ang interactive conversation with a sense of dramatic tension, like drama or podcast. And the third is monologue, a lengthy speech by a single character, often used to express inner thoughts, feelings, or motivations. So, example aning monologue is Hamlet's Soliloquy by William Shakespeare. Kuan siya narrative spoken kaning monologue. Example is broadcaster, news anchor, or TV host. And the fourth one is declamation, the formal recitation of literary work, often with dramatic gestures and vocal inflections. So, declamation, it can be performed in a way that suggests a scenario or setting. The performer can use their voice, gestures, and facial expressions. So dapat kung declamation ka is dapat makita jud ang tone sa imong voice, gestures, facial expressions para maka-connect ang audience nimo. Ug unsay buot ipasabot nimo sa imong gi speech nga declamation. And let's proceed to rhetorical devices. Orators employ various rhetorical devices to enhance their speeches, such as metaphors, simile, personification, hyperbole, understatement, alliteration, and assonance. So, kani sila is mao ni sila ang napulo ka figurative language nga dapat ma-apply, gi-apply sa mga orators para mas ma-enhance o meaningful kaadyo ang imong speech. Then let's proceed to main themes of oratory. The first is persuasion, convincing an audience to adopt a particular viewpoint or take specific action. And the second one is argumentation, presenting logical, reasoning, and evidence to support a claim. The third is ethics, discussing moral principles and values. So ethics is about values or moral. Then the fourth one is politics, addressing issues of governance, leadership, and social justice. Then the fifth one is philosophy, exploring abstract concepts and ideas. And the sixth one is law, arguing legal cases and interpreting laws. And then celebration, praising individuals, events, or ideas. So, anong mga celebration is na magazipin ng mga speeches, just like kanang mga birthday party na magazipin ng mga speech sa mismo nga nag-celebrate sa isang birthday na si speech. Then, mourning, expressing grief and loss. So, kaning mourning is about kanang may mga funeral, just like nga na. In conclusion, the enduring power of oratory, rooted in its ability to persuade, argue, and inspire, continues to shape our world by harnessing the potential of literary devices and timeless themes. Skilled orators have the capacity to ignite social change, challenge the status quo, and uplift humanity. The legacy of great orators serves as a testament to the timeless impact of public speaking. And that's all. Thank you for listening and watching. Bye.